Welcome to Sunny's Mindset Lab podcast. Today we're exploring the 5 major pieces of life's puzzle with the legendary teacher Jim Rohn. This book lays out a clear framework for building a meaningful, successful life by understanding and aligning the core areas that shape who we become.
Thank you, Sunny. The 5 major pieces of life's puzzle is about helping people understand how life really works and how small, consistent changes in the right areas can completely change the direction of their lives.
And that idea that you can distill something as complex as a successful life down to a few core areas, it's very compelling.
It is. The goal is to cut through all the complexity. We're bombarded with so much information.
Exactly. Information overload.
And the book suggests we should really focus on the few among the many, the few principles that make the most difference.
Before we jump into those 5 pieces, I want to start with the foundation you set, which is this core philosophy of success. You say that success is something that has to be attracted, not pursued. Now that sounds really counterintuitive to how most of us operate.
It does. It goes against the modern idea of constant hustle,
Right.
of chasing things.
Right, the endless chase.
But it speaks to a fundamental law of personal development. The rewards in life, the progress you make, it's all determined by what you become, not by how intensely you pursue the reward itself.
So if you just chase the money or the title,
It will likely elude you. Or, if you get it, it will feel empty because you haven't done the internal work. You see, the world it's like a mirror. It doesn't just give you what you want.
it reflects back what you are.
Precisely. It reflects who you've become. If you're not happy with the reflection, the answer isn't to get angry at the mirror. It's to change the person looking into it.
Which is where that core phrase from the book comes in. To have more, we must first become more.
That's the essence of it. Success is drawn to the person you are, to the skills you develop, the character you've built.
Yeah.
So if you're not satisfied with your current results, the first question isn't, how can I work harder?
It's how can I become more?
Yes, am I growing enough to attract the success I want? That internal work is the absolute prerequisite for any meaningful external reward.
So our internal world is the cause, and our external conditions are the effect. You lay this out so clearly in what you call the cause and effect chain. I think it's crucial for listeners to grasp this because it shows exactly where the leverage is.
It is, and it's a very simple linear chain. The cause is entirely internal. It's within your control.
It starts with our thinking.
It starts with your personal philosophy, what you know, what you believe, the information you've gathered. That philosophy then shapes your attitude, which is how you feel about what you know.
And our feelings, our attitude, that drives what we do.
It determines your level of activity. So philosophy, attitude, and activity, those are the internal causes. They are the engine.
And the external effects that everyone sees.
Those are your results, the measurable outcomes. And your results, over time, create your lifestyle, the quality of your existence.
And this leads to that profound trap that so many people fall into. You say they curse the effect, but they continue to nourish the cause.
That is the great paradox, isn't it? It's the definition of running in place. People desperately want better results, a better income, better health, better relationships, but they are completely unwilling to look at the inputs.
They won't change their thinking.
They won't change their philosophy, their attitude, or their daily habits. They curse the small harvest, but they keep planting the same meager seed year after year. To change the effect, you simply must change the cause. It's a law of nature.
So if changing the cause is the only way forward, what is it that finally pushes people to do it? Because as you say, change is hard. Most of us just drift.
That's a key question. Change really comes from one of two very powerful emotional sources. It's either desperation or it's inspiration.
Let's talk about the harder one first. Desperation.
Desperation is a powerful, is harsh teacher. It's what happens when circumstances become so overwhelming, so out of control, usually after years of accumulated neglect.
The wake-up call.
The wake-up call, the pain of staying the same, finally becomes greater than the pain of changing. Suddenly finding answers isn't just a casual interest anymore. It's an urgent necessity. It's the bankruptcy notice or the doctor's bad news. That's desperation.
And the second source, the one we should all be aiming for.
That's inspiration. This is the hope that a powerful idea from a book, a mentor, a speech can just spark something inside you. It rekindles that hope, that ambition. It's that flash of possibility where you realize a better future is available.
So the goal, really, is to act on that whisper of inspiration before desperation has to shout.
Absolutely. The person who acts on inspiration gets to start climbing the hill today. The one who waits for desperation has to first dig themselves out of a very deep hole just to get back to the starting line. It's proactive discipline versus reactive survival.
And once that decision to change is made, whether from desperation or inspiration, you stress that commitment is everything.
It's non-negotiable. So many people are great starters. They buy the book, they start the diet.
But they don't finish.
They don't finish. Life, however, judges us not by what we start, but by what we bring to a successful conclusion. And to do that, you have to focus on the fundamentals, the few things that make the biggest difference.
Which brings us perfectly to the first of those fundamentals, the first major piece of the life puzzle, philosophy. You call it the chief cornerstone.
It is the chief cornerstone because everything else is built upon it. Your philosophy is, well, it's everything that goes on inside your mind. Your thoughts, your ideas, the conclusions you've drawn about how the world works. It is the silent, internal blueprint for your entire life.
Where does that blueprint even come from? It feels so baked in by the time we're adults.
It's gathered from an unlimited number of sources. From school, from our friends, the media, our parents, books we read or don't read.
It's all just pouring in.
It is. But what's important to understand is that as an adult, you develop a very powerful filter mechanism.
And how does that filter work?
It constantly checks new information against your existing beliefs. If a new idea agrees with what you already think, it's accepted. It reinforces your worldview.
But if it contradicts it?
It's usually rejected, often unconsciously. This is why real change is so difficult. The mind actively resists ideas that challenge the system it spent decades building. It protects its own conclusions, even if they're faulty.
So our philosophy acts like a gatekeeper, and it determines our value system. It tells us what's worth doing.
Exactly. Our philosophy determines what we find valuable. Take a simple daily choice. One person believes that getting up at 5 a.m. is valuable for creating opportunity. His neighbor believes that sleeping until noon is valuable for rest and enjoyment.
Both are acting based on their philosophy.
Yes, the actions themselves are simple. But the results of those two philosophies, compounded over 10 years, are, well, they're worlds apart.
That makes the connection between thought and destiny so clear. You use a powerful metaphor in the book to explain how philosophy interacts with life's challenges, the set of the sail.
Yes, the metaphor of the sail and the winds.
Yeah.
You see, the winds of circumstance, they blow on all of us. Disappointment, heartbreak, economic recession. These are the winds.
And they're the same for everyone.
They blow on everyone. We're all in the same sea. Yet if you look around, people who started at the same place end up in vastly different destinations. Some are shipwrecked. Others arrive at a harbor of prosperity.
So if the winds aren't the difference, what is?
The major difference is not circumstance. The major difference is the set of the sail. It's how we choose to think, how we choose to respond. When the winds of adversity hit, the challenge is to struggle, to labor, to reset our sail in a direction we deliberately choose, not just be blown about.
So we control the sail, not the wind. That puts all the responsibility back on our philosophy. But what if you realize your philosophy is, well, wrong? That you've accumulated years of misinformation? How do you even begin to change that?
It is a labor, no question, but a necessary one. The only way is to consciously input new, accurate information. You have to become a deliberate student of life. And there are 4 key ways to do that.
Okay, let's break those down. The first one is learning from our own personal experiences.
We all have this university of experience within us, but we have to use it correctly. We learn from our successes, of course, but more importantly, we must learn from our failures. Failure must teach us, or success will not reward us.
And that means being brutally honest with ourselves. No blaming, no excuses.
No manipulation of the truth. We must labor to make our memories accurate. Otherwise, we are doomed to repeat the same errors, and we become their slave.
That's powerful. What's the second source for refining our philosophy?
The second is to learn from an outside voice, to get counsel. We are often too close to our own situation. We only see the trees. An objective person, someone you respect, can help you see the whole forest.
It's wise to seek that counsel before a crisis forces it on you.
Far wiser. It is better to take counsel from one who cares, before life forces you to take it from one who does not.
The third source is studying others, both their successes and their failures.
Yes. We must study failure to learn what not to do. It saves us from the painful process of trial and error. And, more enjoyably, we must study success. Read the books of successful people. Listen to them. Study their habits, their language, their disciplines. Their experience can be your shortcut.
And the fourth point is about consciously choosing our influences, creating a blueprint for ourselves.
Since we are constantly being influenced, we have to be deliberate about who we allow to influence us. We should pattern our behavior after those we admire. It is far better to consciously choose your influences than to let the wrong ones seep in without you even noticing.
Beyond choosing our sources, you detail some specific disciplines for acquiring knowledge. The first one is simple, but often overlooked: observation.
Yes, most people just try to get through the day. The real challenge is to get from the day. We have to become good observers, astute evaluators. Extraordinary opportunities are often hidden in seemingly insignificant events. If you're not paying attention, you'll miss them.
And the next discipline is listening, which seems to be a lost art.
It is. We have to develop the skill of selective listening, like tuning a radio. If the message is shallow or negative, you have to have the discipline to change the station quickly. Before spoken words have value, we must first master the art of listening.
You even apply this to listening to our own children.
Especially then. If you truly listen to them, you start to understand the information they're receiving and how they're processing it. It's the only way to guide them effectively.
Then there's the big one: reading. You call the books we neglect the missing books.
Think about this. All the answers we need to become healthier, wealthier, and wiser. They've already been written down in books. The great tragedy is neglect. You have to ask yourself, how many books have I read in the last 90 days that were designed to improve my life?
And you say if the price of a book seems too high.
If $20 for a book seems too great a price, wait until you get the bill for not buying it. The bill for prolonged ignorance is far, far higher.
It's a stark comparison. There's little difference between someone who can't read and someone who won't.
The end result is the same. Ignorance. Reading is essential for anyone who seeks to rise above the ordinary. Even just 10 pages a day adds up to a mountain of knowledge over time.
And the final discipline is keeping a personal journal.
A journal is a gathering place for all these ideas and observations. It does two remarkable things. First, it captures the present moment before the details and, more importantly, the emotions of an experience fade.
You can recall the event, but the emotional lesson is lost.
Exactly. And second, the act of writing slows down your thinking. It allows for objective scrutiny. When you write down your decisions and experiences, you can analyze your own philosophy and see where the errors are. It's a powerful tool for self-correction.
All of this brings us to a really clear definition of what failure and success actually are. And it's not what most people think. You say failure isn't some big cataclysmic event.
It's not. Failure is simply a few errors in judgment repeated every day.
And we repeat them because they don't seem to matter in the moment.
That's the great danger of failure. It's subtlety. Skipping the workout today, eating the junk food, not reading the 10 pages. The consequence isn't immediate, it's delayed. So we think it doesn't matter.
But those small errors accumulate.
They accumulate until the inevitable day of reckoning arrives. And by then, the price is immense.
So if that's the formula for failure, what's the formula for success?
It's just as simple. Success is a few simple disciplines practiced every day.
The same subtlety, but in the opposite direction.
Precisely. The way to switch from the failure formula to the success formula is to make the future an important part of your philosophy today. When you discipline yourself to see the long-term consequences of your daily actions, you begin to change your thinking. You convert those small errors into small disciplines.
And you point out that these disciplines have a multiplying effect.
They do. This is the magic. Every new discipline you add positively affects every other discipline you have. Start exercising and you'll have more mental clarity. That helps your work. That improves your relationships. It's a cascade.
But the reverse is also true. One undisciplined act opens the door for others.
It's the beginning of delusion to say, this is the only area where I'm weak. License in one area of life inevitably spreads to others.
So the real challenge is that the things that are easy to do
are also easy not to do. That's the crux of it. The primary reason people fail to reach their potential isn't a lack of ability or opportunity, it's neglect. Simple, daily neglect.
And that neglect starts a dangerous downward spiral.
It does. Neglect leads to guilt. Guilt erodes self-confidence. Lower self-confidence leads to less activity. Less activity leads to poor results. And poor results destroy your attitude, which crushes your confidence even more. It's a vicious cycle that starts with one small act of neglect.
Which is a perfect transition to the second major piece: attitude. If philosophy is the logical part, attitude is the emotional part.
That's the distinction. What we know is our philosophy, how we feel about what we know. That is our attitude. And our emotions, our feelings, they govern so much of our daily conduct. With the right attitude, A person can move a mountain. With the wrong one, they can be crushed by a grain of sand.
Let's look at attitude in relation to time past, present, and future. How should we feel about the past?
The past must be a school, not a weapon. We cannot beat ourselves to death with past mistakes. The purpose of the past is to educate us, to increase our value for the future. You cannot move forward until you finally close the door on yesterday's regrets.
And the present?
The present is the new beginning. Every day, we all get the same 1,440 minutes. The greatest gift of today is the chance to start the process of change. Right now, you can decide on a new attitude, a new direction, this very moment.
Then there's the future, which you say must be finished before it can be started.
Yes. Everything ever created, a building, a business, a symphony, was first finished in the mind of its creator. We must design our future in the same way, with clarity and imagination. If you don't have a clear design for your future, you'll simply recreate your past.
And this is where goals become so powerful. They create that magnificent obsession that pulls you forward.
They do. When you have a clear, exciting vision of the future, you can actually borrow emotion and excitement from it. That future promise fuels the hard work you have to do today. You become pulled by the future, not just pushed by discipline.
But that future promise has a price.
Of course, the price is discipline, labor, consistency. But here's the key. The price gets easy when the promise becomes clear. When the goal is so compelling, so magnificent, the daily work required to get there becomes a privilege, not a burden. A goal you only casually pursue is just a wish.
Another part of attitude is self-worth. You argue that how we feel about ourselves is a choice, not a circumstance.
It is a choice, and it's determined by our philosophy. People often feel poorly about themselves simply because they don't know themselves. They don't know their own strengths, their own capabilities. Self-knowledge is critical. The more you learn about your own value, the better choices you make. Better choices lead to better results, and that improves your attitude. It's an upward spiral.
This brings us to a really difficult part of managing our attitude: the influence of other people, our associations. You pose 3 very direct questions we need to ask.
Yes, and they require absolute honesty. First, who am I around? Look at your inner circle. Are they growing? Are they learning? Or are they stagnant and cynical? Because you will become like them.
The second question is about their effect on us. What effect are they having?
How do they have you talking, thinking, feeling, becoming? Are they lifting you up or subtly pulling you down? You have to be a guardian of your own mind.
And the third and toughest question, is that acceptable?
This is where you have to make hard choices. The influence is often so subtle. It's not a push, it's a nudge. A small nudge every day, and 5 years you wake up and wonder, how did I get here? Sometimes protecting your future requires you to limit your time with certain people, or even disassociate completely.
And this ties into the 80-20 rule of association.
It does. About 80% of the people around us are often producing only 20% of the positive results in the world. Yet, they will try to take up 80% of your time. Discipline demands that you spend 80% of your time with the 20% who are pulling you forward.
Ultimately, you say we have to take total dominion over our own attitude.
We must. No one can make you angry. They can only test your attitude. If you choose to get angry, you have voluntarily surrendered control of your own emotional state. Your attitude is a precious asset. You have to guard it like a treasure.
And a practical way to do that is with constant positive input.
Repetition is the mother of skill. You need to listen to positive audios, read good books again and again. You have to give those new ideas time to overwrite the old, negative programming. Success moves toward those who are actively searching for it.
Which leads us to piece 3, activity. This is where potential gets converted into performance. You start with the parable of the talents.
A powerful lesson. It teaches that life rewards us based on our level of deserve, not our level of need. The servants who used and grew what they were given were rewarded. The one who buried his talent had it taken away. The moral is, it's our responsibility to do something with what we've been given.
It's a hard truth. You even point out that sometimes dishonest people succeed where good people fail.
And why is that? Often it's because they work at their crooked schemes with intensity and commitment, while good people are coasting with good intentions. Activity is essential. Evil rushes in to fill the void created by the absence of good. We cannot blame life for being unfair if we're not taking disciplined action.
So we have to choose between 2 kinds of pain.
We all must. You will either experience the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. The difference is that the pain of discipline weighs ounces, while the pain of regret weighs tons.
And choosing enterprise over ease does more than just get results.
It builds your character. Every time you choose action over ease, you increase your self-worth and self-confidence. It's who you become in the process of doing that matters most. Rest must be a necessity, not the objective.
You also warn against affirmations without discipline.
That is the beginning of delusion. Affirmations must be based in truth and backed by action. If you are broke, the most powerful affirmation is, "I am broke." Confronting that reality is what drives a prudent person to action. You have to stop blaming everything and everyone else.
But the activity must also be intelligent.
Hard work alone is not enough. You must put intelligence into your activity. Otherwise, you just mistake motion for progress. But don't spend too much time getting intelligent that you never act. It's a balance.
This is where goals and planning are so important.
The plan is the blueprint. But the major objective, that magnificent obsession, that is the unseen force that pulls you into the future. The daily discipline pushes you, but the dream pulls you. And the more you push, the stronger the pull becomes.
Which brings us to piece 4. Results. This is the harvest from all that past effort.
It's the harvest, yes. Results are always in direct proportion to effort. But we have to remember that the season for planting, for opportunity, is brief. If you miss it, you can't ask nature for an advance on next year's crop. You can only learn from your neglect and prepare for the next season.
You give us 2 ways to measure our results. The first is tangible.
The first is what we have, our bank account, our home, our assets. These are an honest indicator of our past philosophy and activity. If the results are meager after years of work, something in the cause must change. The same sower with the same seed will always get the same harvest.
And the second, more important measure is intangible.
This is what we have become. Our character, our integrity, our wisdom, our compassion. This is the true measure of a life. And here is the fundamental. For things to change, we must change.
This goes right back to the principle of attraction. We attract what we have by the person we have become.
That's the heart of it. That's why your primary focus must always be on working harder on yourself than you do on your job. If you lost all your valuables, you could get them all back because you are the asset that created them in the first place. Pursue more value, not more valuables.
And a key part of increasing our value is acquiring new skills.
A new skill can change everything. It's the difference between trying to chop down a tree with a hammer versus an axe. One takes 30 days of misery, the other takes 30 minutes of effective work. Skill is acquired through patient study and practice.
You say the formula for success always works. The only variable is the person.
The formula isn't on trial. We are. The question is, will you work the formula? And to know if you are, you have to check your results often. You can't wait 10 years to find out your plan is flawed. A 1-degree error in navigation seems small today, but over a long journey, you end up millions of miles off course.
What if the results show that we're struggling, that things are difficult?
Difficulty serves a purpose. It tests the strength of your resolve. If your desire, your want to, is strong enough, challenges actually force you to grow faster and build new self-confidence.
Ultimately, you point out that humans are unique in their ability to choose to be less than they can be.
Every other life form strives for its maximum potential. A tree doesn't grow halfway and stop. But we have the choice. We can choose to do it all, to learn all we can, earn all we can, share all we can, or we can choose to settle. Our results are the best measure of which choice we've made.
Which brings us to the final piece, the culmination of it all, lifestyle.
Lifestyle is the art of living well. It's blending the other 4 pieces into a sophisticated way of life. It's understanding the difference between life's trinkets and life's treasures.
And the big mistake people make is postponing this.
Yes, they think they have to wait until they're wealthy to live a rich life. They postpone happiness. But the truth is, happiness must precede success. Practice sophistication is a cause of wealth, not just a result of it.
So we can have it all now.
You can have it all now. You don't need $1 million to appreciate a sunset or a symphony or a great work of art. You don't have to be rich to live richly.
You use the example of tipping to show this practice sophistication in action.
It's about doing ordinary things in an extraordinary way. Instead of just leaving a tip at the end, you give a portion of it in advance with sincere words to ensure a special experience. It takes thought, not more money, to live better.
The core of this is mastering the art of being.
It is. The main reason people aren't happy is they haven't learned this. The core practice is simple. Wherever you are, be there. We're at home worrying about the office, and at the office worrying about home. We go through the day instead of getting something from it.
We're physically present, but mentally and emotionally absent.
Exactly. Going to Paris is a physical activity. Experiencing Paris is a rich emotional event. To live a unique life, you have to be fully present for all of it, the joy and the sorrow. You attract a better life by adopting the emotions of a better life now.
So we've covered all 5 pieces: philosophy, attitude, activity, results, and lifestyle. But you say there's one final element, the glue, that holds it all together.
The missing glue is a sense of urgency. The great danger for many of us is the comfort zone. We have enough to be comfortable, so we stop striving. We lack the desperation or inspiration to really push ourselves.
And in that comfort, we become oblivious to time passing.
We think there's always tomorrow. And we squander today on trivial things instead of on preparation. It's a dangerous drift.
You tell a story about a man on the Niagara River that illustrates this perfectly.
It's a sobering story. A man is drifting in a boat, enjoying himself, not noticing the slow, subtle pull of the current. By the time he hears the roar of the falls, it's too late. The drift has become an irreversible disaster.
And his final thoughts are of regret.
Yes. If only I had a second chance.
Oh.
The lesson is that we are all drifting. We have to examine where our current drift is taking us. Is it toward our goals or over the falls?
Life is not a practice session.
It is not. We can't afford to wait for the 2-minute warning to start playing with intensity. We have to impose new disciplines now. We have to seize the opportunities that are right in front of us and not be paralyzed by the risks. Sometimes you have to risk going too far just to find out how far you can really go.
So it all comes back to those simple daily choices.
At the end of it all, your life will be the sum total of one of two things: either a few errors in judgment repeated every day, or a few simple disciplines practiced every day. Success is easy to do, but it's also easy not to do. The choice is ours, every single day.
Jim, thank you for sharing the wisdom from the 5 major pieces of life's puzzle. This conversation gives our listeners a clear framework for understanding how to build a meaningful and successful life.
Thank you, Sunny. I hope these ideas encourage your listeners to take responsibility for their philosophy and make steady progress in the right direction.
This has been Sunny's Mindset Lab. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode.